Hello and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. We provide fan-oriented analytic discussions on a variety of animated shows, movies, and anime, including Steven Universe and Miraculous Ladybug, among others. I'm Dylan Hysen, and today I'm joined by Delaney Stovall.
Hello.
Today, Delaney and I will be discussing the latest episode of the English dub of Miraculous Ladybug, Horrificator. Horrificator aired tonight. We'll discuss that in a second on Nick. We watch only the English dub. We have not seen the French or Korean versions. No spoilers or anything except the episodes that have aired in English on Nick. And we cover it every week here on the Overly Animated Podcast. Search for Overly Animated Podcast on iTunes or your favorite podcatcher, and check us out at overlyanimated.com. So this week, we had a week off last week. That's why there's no podcast. Nick just took a week off. But it actually kind of made sense if they're changing time slots, which I didn't know that they were doing.
True.
I don't think they really announced it, though.
No, I don't. Do they ever?
Well, they have a bad history with changing time slots with Cora.
Cough, Cora, cough.
But they did that, I think taking a week off is a good idea, but you have to, promote it. I'm not sure. I mean, I don't watch Nick regularly, so I don't know if they did.
Yeah.
But now Miraculous Ladybug is airing on 7 on Sunday nights on Nick, which from a broad perspective, seems to be a better time, considering that the show obviously has an older teenage, young adult type audience, right?
It's kind of when they moved Cora away from the 11 a.m. death slot Saturday morning.
Right, which was not a death slot, but yeah, it's Nick has a history with not understanding that shows have older audiences, right? The same thing happened with Cora, and
it was like the teenage death slot.
And noon and Sunday was actually a good time for Nick, but actually 7 at Sunday is a weird time for Nick. They do not put new content at this time, so I'm curious as to why they did that. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's not like the show's going to get canceled because Nick can't do that, but I guess it could stop airing in the U.S., which whatever. But yeah, so the effect of this is that this is a worse time for Delaney and I recording wise.
It's a terrible time.
So we'll try to have these up Sunday nights. They won't be up right away after the episode. They'll be up at some point, but it might be Monday nights, and if not Monday, Tuesday nights, right? So
we're gonna try.
It's once we get into the weekday, it's difficult for me. So I mean, I like the time slot change. It's just a little inconvenient for us, but whatever. So yeah. Let's get into this week's episode, Horrificator. Spoilers for this episode and only the episodes that have aired on ending. Oh, by the way, Nick had an episode listed on Saturday next week. I don't think that's actually happening. It's not really on their guide. It's just on the Zap2It listings. It's probably just Sunday night again. But they were being confusing. So, okay.
Who knows?
Horrificator. We had, I don't know if this is, every episode's weird at this point.
Yes, this is true.
So
well-established fact.
It's not that much different. What did you think of Horrificator, Delaney?
Overall, it was, I was going to say weird, but that's a well-established fact that every episode is weird. I really, really, really liked the villain this week. It was definitely, I think, a distinct change in how the villain kind of looked and functioned. It was interesting, I think, in how they told the story. The framework of the episode was awkward, but it worked somehow. It was very much the typical, oh my god, why don't they know who they are?
We had another big moment with that, yeah.
Yes, but they did. They actually did something that was a little bit different. Typically, they're like, okay, I'm just going to run away and hide, and they're just going to forget that Marinette and Adrian are off doing something weird. They actually acted like they got captured, and it worked somehow. Why does the show do this? It's so frustrating, but then brilliant at the same time. Because they, do this in universe, and they're so consistent with it, it's just baffling. But this time they actually were like, oh, this is really smart, I'm going to act like I've been taken. And I don't know why I expect every week that something's going to be different. Because I was like, wait, what if they start breaking open the pods or whatever? And they're like, where's Marinette and Adrian? But I'm silly. Why on earth did I think that? So overall, I liked the episode, and I liked our villain. I don't think it was necessarily a standout episode, but I think it was a standout villain, in design and how it functioned in the episode.
You mentioned the pods, the Zygon Doctor Who.
That
was the exact same thing that happened this season on Doctor Who. Okay.
Well, it's also a very we've seen this before 5,000 times. This is also Leroy Jenkins and the World of Warcraft. There are 4 people who listen to the podcast who know what I'm talking about right now.
No, you're too nerdy for me for that one.
No. I'll get one ask, and they'll be like, yes. No,
I think let's say Doctor Who originally had it because I assume the Zygons are an old villain.
there is
Yeah.
no, are the Zygons? I thought the Zygons were
They
new.
might be a new villain.
I
I'm not
thought they're new
sure.
villain. Let's
Okay,
find out.
well, that's not important. Anyway, yeah, I agree with you. It's not a top tier episode, but it was fine. I am less bullish on the villain than you. I appreciate the difference in design and function. I agree, but I don't think it's particularly a deep like portrayal of a villain. I think it's interesting that we're slowly like getting more and learning more and more about their random background classmates who are just
Yeah,
given personalities. And
just more and more.
we have and I have a new favorite character on the show. The purple haired, I think she was doing makeup.
She's also my fave. She's so
I
great.
don't know what her name is. I don't know if they said
I
it
don't
or
even
not.
know. I don't think they did either.
Yeah, so let us know what her name is. And she was like
Yes,
awesome when the
it
thing
was
came.
pretty great.
She's my new favorite, yeah.
She's A plus.
And the dynamics, yeah, we had the big moment with, or not the big moment, but the typical moment with the hiding the identities, and it was more interesting this time. They both independently thought to leave something to try to be
Yeah,
would make it look like they're captured. But then there's the moment where they run into the pods and it's like, where's Adrian? And Cat Noir calls out like, I'm okay. And then the same thing happens with Marinette and it's just the worst.
it's so
It's
annoying.
just the worst. We had our big shipping moment with Adrian and Marinette almost kissing.
Typical.
I saw like a promo of this or something, and I was like, oh, this is gonna happen later on. But no, we already like blew like the big moments coming up, so I don't even know what's coming up. But
Who knows?
it's yeah. I thought this was a. I mean, in checking on Marinette's character, I said 2 weeks ago, basically, I like Marinette a lot when she's not like obsessing over Adrian. I think that that's a very shallow part of her personality. Not that that's like a shallow characteristic for a person, but I think sometimes, but like if her character becomes just that, I think there's a lot of other facets about her that they've portrayed on the show, and
And she
some.
was definitely very concerned about Milan.
I
How do we
think Milan, yeah.
Milan? And I really like that she really. It's not like she wanted to be in the show with Adrian. Like she was very much like I'm
Might be
producing
Milan.
it.
I don't know. Milan, I think.
Milan. I don't know.
I mean, there's like a city, and so that's Milan.
Yes.
I don't know if that was her name. Anyway, yeah, there Marinette was doing other stuff, right? Like,
Yeah.
there's like 2 minutes when her character just fell back into that, but then she had a great moment when I mean, great moment. I mean, I'm praising something that's not like shouldn't be super praiseworthy, but like the show, Alia was like, it's finally time to kiss Adrian, and she's like, but I don't want it to be this way, right? Like
Yeah.
that was kind of interesting, and I appreciate them putting that in there, even if it's like the
Yes.
minimal amount. I think that this episode probably suffered from the being a dub more than others because there's a section where they're singing a song called Smelly Wolf, and I
Yes.
don't know what that was in French or Korean, but it really was kind of dumb in English, I think.
I mean, the only thing I can think of is like smelly cat.
I mean, it might have been the same thing, but in French, maybe it sounded better. Like
I
it
don't
sounded
know.
very dumb. That's
Well, it's like smelly cat's a thing. So like I don't
shrug.
understand.
They had a lot of references to like English movie stuff, and I wonder like if Spielberg was Spielberg in French, if like this is the type of thing
Yeah.
I'd love to comment on, and I encourage that. And they had like Oscars. I could totally see those being actually what
Yeah.
they're talking about, but in terms of highlights, the like the romance between Milan, and Ivan was pretty incredibly characterized for how short a time they were on the
Yeah.
screen. Yeah, that I was like genuinely impressed by. I
It was
think
very cute
it
and
was,
nice and
yeah,
not annoying.
it was yeah, like most of the romance on the show, right? But it was sweet, and those two characters, given that they were like there for 2 seconds, I think you felt for them, and I like how they played it with with her being the horror monster and recognizing him, and then at the end, and even if it was all very tropey, and this episode was very tropey, then and by that I mean like stereotypical storytelling
Yeah.
devices, and even so, I still very much enjoyed those two. I thought that was very well done.
Yeah, it was probably the best like the show's done thus far, and like having something like small like that in the
Like
background.
minor character, they actually have done decently with minor characterizations. I like Alex, I think, but
Yeah.
Alex stands out from the time episode. I think she was in the background in this episode, right?
She got taken. They
Okay.
were like she has out. They were like they have Alex.
Why? No, we need more Alex. She's the best too.
I agree.
Also, we need purple hair now to become
Yes.
a
Villain.
a villain because she'd be the best villain. It would be great. What else stood out? Marinette. I don't know. Like she. We'll go over it and I'll figure out what was interesting. Marinette did some interesting things, I guess.
Well, Marinette was very much like they really played up Marinette's role as the leader, like as Marinette and as Ladybug, because most of the episode was just Cat Noir being like, "You're so smart," and like that's what I was thinking. Like, shut up, Cat Noir. Like, shh. But I mean, that's me every week. But
Yeah, that
like,
is
it
you.
was very much extra this episode where it was just Ladybug, which is like, I mean, we've discussed we've discussed this at length that Marinette is really the only competent of the two, and she was
I
very
think
much
Cat
in
was more
charge.
competent this episode than normal.
Well, I don't even. I can't even say more than normal. Like he still didn't. He still doesn't do a lot. He
He
just didn't
trapped
like.
the villain.
But he didn't like purposely mess everything up like he usually does. That's like the only real
Yeah,
difference.
true. Uh, big episode for Nino. I thought he was good in this,
Yes.
and a big Chloe episode again. Like. I'm. I think you're anti Chloe. I'm officially team Chloe at this point.
Oh
This
God, no,
episode,
why?
Chloe's
You
so
only
funny.
do this because
She's so funny.
she's hilarious. No, I agree. She's
She had so many
hilarious.
good lines here, and I know it's not her intentionally being funny, but her character is just very funny.
No, her character is hilarious. Well, my favorite part was when Marinette was like, "Why don't you go to the nurse's office and try on some outfits?" And then she just like goes along, and then at the end she's like, "You guys have been
Yeah,
tricked."
that was
I
the
was
best. That was
dying.
my favorite line of the
Like
episode. Yeah.
Chloe. Well, it's really funny though, because like I think for me, like the big thing is like because Chloe loves Ladybug so much that's just like a redeeming aspect of her
Yes.
character is how much she loves Ladybug.
Ladybug, it's me, Chloe
It's so
Bourgeois.
you
Yeah,
know it's so funny,
it
and
was great.
she's in there painting her nails. Like
Yeah.
it's so good.
No, Chloe's the best. And
Yeah, I guess
also,
I'm not. Okay, I guess I'm not anti Chloe. She just irritates me sometimes,
I
which is like,
also just love this character archetype too. Um,
yeah, I know.
she reminds me. I was a big Code Lyoko fan when it was on like years
Oh
and
yes,
Sissy, yeah, she's the Sissy of the show
yeah.
for
I was gonna
sure.
say that's what I was about to say. I'm
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
she's
And I
Sissy.
love Sissy too, so that's great.
It's great.
And I don't know if anyone on the show worked on if the creator of this worked on Good Oak. I don't remember or not. I assume some of the animators did, both French shows, of course.
But naturally, that's
No,
how that has to work.
yeah, because all French people work on the same animated shows. No,
Yes.
there's some connection. Like it's a similar like group, I think.
It's like
So
Cartoon Network. Everyone's literally been on
yeah,
the same
it's like
show.
the same things. Yeah. Um, let's go through the outline. Oh no, okay. I had one other thing to discuss. The general framework of the plot of the episode is them making this the student film, and then it devolves into like a real horror movie when the film
Yeah.
comes out.
Turns into Blair Witch.
Yeah, how do you think this is kind of handled? It's not. It in some ways this is like a non stereotypical plot line because it's kind of
Yeah.
like smart, but at the same time, like tons of shows have done this
Yeah.
before, right? So
Uh,
how do you think
I
it was
think
handled here?
I think they did it pretty well, especially like kind like certain where they actually made it look like it was like from the perspective of Tino and he was filming. I think it was interesting. It's probably one of the more interesting like narrative things we've done on the show. Like, because I mean, they do very interesting things, and of course, what keeps us coming back is like the mythology of the show and how much potential the show has. And we have done very interesting things narratively, but I think this is the most interesting in like framework for for an episode because like we have a lot of episodes where we're just like trapped in the school, and this is the first one where it's like not super like typical or annoying. And also I think this may be the first episode where we're not in Paris, like out in the city. Like I think typically we are in the school, but then we're sometimes out of the city, like with the robo like the with
Yeah, they went outside for a portion
yeah.
of that.
So I think this is probably the first episode. Like I think they do it really well considering that we're in a very small space and we get to explore the school a little bit. Like we get to go to the scary like dungeon basement in the school,
Yeah, I didn't even know where they were, but
and it was like the boiler room or something. And I think it worked very well in this case. And they did it. I'm not going to say it was seamless, but because you could tell where they were going. Like Tino whips out his phone, but I think it was done pretty well.
I think Boiler Room of Kodliok, I think as well. I think it was one of the entrances to the
Yeah.
to the
But that's a super typical thing in general.
to the factory is through the boiler room, right? Yeah. Seriously, I genuinely haven't seen Kodliok since I was like 14, but I was like the biggest fan. Okay. Yeah, I think the show's been doing these kind of high concept plots for I'd say the majority of its episodes. I don't think this is super high concept, but like it doing like
I don't think it's super high concept, but I think it's one of the more interesting things.
it's like I mean in yeah, I don't know. It is and isn't high concept, but like I think like look back, like Roger Cop, super high concept. I think like Evil Strader was doing a lot. Dark Cupid was doing a lot. Like seriously, almost every episode. Timebreaker, of course.
Well, Timebreaker is probably the most high concept,
Yeah,
most narratively like different
I think
episode.
that's still my favorite episode of the show, by the way. That and Lady Wi-Fi are my two.
I think Lady Wi-Fi is my
Yeah,
favorite.
those are my top two. But yeah, I think it was handled decently.
Well, I think it's interesting because like everything you just said, like those are all kind of things we haven't seen before, and this is I think something that we have seen before, but they gave it a very much a Ladybug twist.
Yeah, sure. Especially when the two of them transform and they show up. Yeah, I think it's
And they did have that, that shot. It's like, oh, it's time to get the alter ego, and like they did, like
Oh yeah,
I don't,
she
I
calls
thought
it. It's time to bring out the alter ego. Like, really, that's your alter ego, Marinette. Really,
really,
is that how you characterize it to yourself? No, I did not know that. That I would like to see a progression of how Marinette like psychologically deals with like her also being Ladybug and
I imagine we have to have like an episode where we kind of like go back.
to the you mean the origin story?
Yeah, like
Apparently the creator said that they're doing
it's
this.
like I want one, and then I mean, granted, we have had a few episodes where we touch upon like the struggle of being Marinette and also Ladybug, like
Yeah, they
Lady
have
Wi-Fi
like,
is
but
kind
it's
of one
more
of those
like a time
episodes.
thing, right? Like,
Yeah, it's more,
yeah.
and I definitely want like the origin and like the more of a like struggle of like to be kind of two people at
And
once.
what's kind of great about this show is that it's almost like there's like struggles and like you time wise and like balancing everything, but it's also just like a great Ladybug just seems like a very healthy thing for Marinette as like an outlet
Yeah,
for her to just like be more confident and stuff. And I kind of and I think they're like subtly exploring that, and I also just kind of love that there's like this two aspects of a character and it's like a healthy thing. I don't know.
well, it's very Kim Possible-esque in that
Yeah, it seems like it was like that on that show.
like Kim being Kim isn't, and like granted Kim at school, like Kim the cheerleader and Kim Possible save the world is like like there isn't really a profound shift the way there is in Marinette and Ladybug, but granted I don't even want to say profound shift. Like Marinette is just like the awkward teenager, but then the superhero allows her to be who she really wants to be. But like there was definitely this whole like the superhero like there isn't like really like there's danger, but there's not. Like at the end of the day, we always know Marinette and Cat Noir are gonna win, and like it's just not detrimental to like them as people, which is very much how like Kim Possible is. Like it's just like part of who they are, and it's not like shown in this like excessive or like bad light. Like it just simply is.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think I would like a little bit more of exploring it specifically and
Yeah.
how Marinette handles it. But
Or
um,
how it got started, just like
well, yeah, I think we will get that. I imagine a season finale, a two-part one, first the origin story, then the
yeah.
reveal. I don't know if that's gonna happen, but that's what I imagine. Random note: a lot of close-ups on Marinette's like face in this episode, and
Yeah.
specifically, I noticed that like her eyes are super detailedly animated.
They
I
were like
noticed that.
super blue.
So they like really blue
Super
and
blue.
striking. Yeah, I didn't notice that before. Marinette Gorge, but like
Yes,
definitely
obvious.
more close ups here.
Yeah.
What was I gonna? Okay, so Dylan's complaint corner for the week, and I try to relegate this
To the complaint corner.
because you all are so nice, and I know you love the show, and but there's like I was kind of raging for a little bit of the episode, and the topic, and of course I like the show and stuff, and it's not necessarily my first reaction. My gig thing I got upset with this week was the reused animation. I'm
Yes.
officially very tired of it. They have four or five. It depends who on account. Like I'm not even counting the Hawkmoth
Yeah, I was
animation,
saying
which
not
is the
counting
same. Not
Hawkmoth.
even counting Hawkmoth. There's four reused animations they use every episode. They take up about 30 seconds in total. That's such a long time to be watching the same thing every week. And it's not even that they're doing different voices during it. It's just literally the same thing every time. I don't want to see Cat Noir transform one more time. I'm really, and like Meredith, it's more tolerable because I love her, but it's still really annoying. And I genuinely think it's like bad narrative, bad storytelling, bad component of the show. It's there's a history of this with this group of like French animation. Code Lyoko had a ton of reused animation.
Well, it's also just typical given like what the show is. Like I
Ge-
talk about this a lot in
Again, yeah,
Power
it's
Rangers.
very
Like it's
yeah.
just
Power Rangers very much like Code Lyoko is that it's they had this they're doing the same things every time.
yeah,
It's like the virtualization type of thing.
yeah,
And yeah, it's and I don't know. Maybe I liked it. Maybe it worked better there. I was not I was not as capable of critically evaluating as I am now. But I genuinely think that they should stop this reusing the animation like this. I think it is really not good. It takes me like it really just takes me out of it because I have to like tune out because I don't want to see the same transformation segment for the 100th time. It's
yeah.
actually only the 10th time, but like it just takes me out of the moment, and I don't know. I have nothing positive about it. Like it is good animation. Like if you're gonna reuse something, you can reuse
Yeah.
this, but it's just really bad.
I don't know. I'm just not as bothered by it because it's just so typical. Though I understand why you're bothered by it.
It took me until now to kind of. I mean, I've complained about it before on the podcast, but
Yeah.
this time it just really got there.
I
Uh,
mean, I'm more upset about it is that it's a waste of time.
yeah, I mean, I would.
Like seeing it every week doesn't bother me so much as like
Yeah,
it's a
they could
waste
be
of
doing
time.
more stuff. They already rush everything a lot, but also like I'd rather just cut it out and have the episode be shorter. Like I know that's not how that works, but I would prefer that to seeing it again. Um, there's other stuff. Like I said, that part where they played the Smelly Wolf song, I think that completely didn't work. I think that was actively bad. Like no, I know. I just didn't even think it was funny. Like there's certain I've talked about this before, but like I don't want to be taken out of the episode and like feel childish watching it.
Yeah.
Like the fart jokes on Korra, right?
Yeah.
That's like this type of thing. I don't even know. Like maybe it's a real song.
Well, I mean, I
Just
like that they all worked together,
I
but I
like
just
the
don't.
concept of it. I just don't think it
Yeah.
worked in English. Like
Yeah.
I could see it working in a different language. Didn't work here.
I mean, I could. Yeah. I could. Like, if they just kept it in French and they sang a song,
Yeah, like
I'd be
yeah.
fine with that.
That wouldn't. I don't think it would make sense. But yeah.
No, I mean, personally, that would I would actually like prefer that they kept parts of it in French or Korean. Like, it would just like it's like when you read a book and you know your characters are speaking like
They've
German,
done
but
this
you're reading it in
before
English.
with some dubs. Yeah, they keep the songs in.
Like, I would keep the song like the Japanese version of the Teen Titans theme so much better than like the English
I don't
theme.
think it
Like,
works in episode.
I think it does
I mean,
because it's
I would
like
have to see it, but like,
well, my thing is like when you're watching like we're watching the show. Yes, they're speaking English, and yes, they speak English in France, but like they're going to school, and like we could, I mean, either way, you can reasonably assume they're having school either in French or in English. And I really don't think it'd be that annoying if they just had random things and here and there when they like speak French. And we've had lines in French before, I think. Like they keep things in their French.
uh,
Like I think like I've heard like I think Alia's said like Cherie. Like they do say
that's
things in
interesting.
French.
Well, if they do that, they should keep. They should not have Milady be Milady.
Agree.
But the
So
more
like
Miladies, by the way. That's
like
also.
I think yes. I think there should just be like I don't know, like it wouldn't really bother me if they like sang the song in French. Like
Yeah, I mean, I think I disagree. Like, I think if you start having them speak French a lot, then it already doesn't make sense that they're speaking English in France. So, I think
well,
that
they do
just
speak English in French, but they don't, in France, but not nearly as much as they speak
speaking
English in like
all
other
English
countries.
in French, right?
Yeah, no, it's like. Well, my thing is like if we're gonna have this suspension of disbelief anyway, that like obviously they're not having school like in English, then I think it's fine that if they like sing
See,
songs.
I actually think that it makes my point would be it makes the suspension of disbelief apparent, whereas you just don't think about it otherwise.
I don't know. It doesn't like it just doesn't bother me. It's
I
like
would
when
have
you're
to see it though,
like
but
when you're reading a book and like your characters are like if you have someone who writes a book and they don't know like whatever language they want their characters to be speaking and you're like oh they're speaking in German or whatever but you're reading it in English like to me that doesn't like bother me.
which
That
is
wouldn't
why the
bother me
show
on the show.
works. But I think that if you include stuff never mind. It's I've made the point already. Okay, yeah, it's not even that important. But yeah, it's I do think like to this point I am glad that they like keep in all the French references. They had this episode they had Parisian student film festival, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm always glad when they do that because like I play the Phoenix Wright video game series and they like pretend that game doesn't happen in Japan a lot and they like change eating ramen to eating hamburgers and it's just really fun sometimes. Okay. So let me go through the outline quickly to see stuff we missed. Yeah, I thought they were like I don't know the beginning segment with them just all like the entire class doing stuff. we've had this before, right? Like this big classroom scene. I'm not
Yeah.
sure. I'm not sure it's really worked yet. Like I think it was fine, but I'm not sure
Yeah.
it's came together super well. There's just a lot of characters, a lot happening, a lot
Well, it
of
was
characters.
kind of awkward in this because like they're clearly not actually in school.
What do you
Like they're
mean?
not having
Yeah,
class.
they're not having class. Yeah.
So like, is it the weekend?
I think one of the big problems is that yeah, I guess it's. I think it was after. No, yeah, you're right. It was the weekend because
They were
Max
like,
was
you have
like,
it
"There's
until
9 hours."
6.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
yeah. So is the weekend. I think the big problem is that they keep introducing these minor characters who we don't really know,
And there's a lot.
and
Like
there's a
there's a lot
lot
of
of
them
them. Like
now.
they've done Max twice now.
Yes.
And it was really random his introduction last episode. And we have him here again, and one of the commenters was like, "Max is the best." So I assume he'll be a bigger role later, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just doesn't make sense. Like, I mean, he makes sense. Like, you're allowed to have side characters, but
Yeah.
it's just distracting.
Well, it's like when we have literally every week we have like a new
It's
character.
like, why do we need Ivan here? We already have like I mean, I guess Ivan's different from Kim,
Kim,
but
yeah.
like, I don't know. We've never seen Ivan before.
Honestly, for half a second, I thought they were the
I
same
thought they were
person.
the
And then I
same too.
realized, and then I was like, wait, it's
I mean,
not Kim.
obviously Ivan's better, but yeah.
Yes, clearly.
And we've never seen her before. I loved her hair. Her design's cool, but yeah.
Yeah, her design is cool. I mean, I have problems with it, but I do like her design.
I mean, maybe we've seen them before in the background. They've never spoke, I don't think.
I don't think we've seen them in the background before.
Maybe not. I have no idea.
Like I would have noticed.
I'm not confident I would have noticed, but if you say so, then
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't notice Mabel's sweaters.
Yes, there's definitely things I don't notice. You're lame, me lame. What was that? I think that
I don't even know.
was that Chloe? I think that was probably
Chloe. Let's be honest.
Chloe had the best lines here. I like Alia writing the script and it's just Alia being awesome again. Oh yeah, no, Alia is the best. They like she was like super anti giving interest. She's like Agent Smith does not need a man in her life right now.
Alia is the queen.
Yeah,
I love her so much.
It's Alia, like I'll put it on our Ladybug. By the way, I have to say, I said we were pointing out how ladyblog.tumblr.com does not exist. Well, I got messaged by official-ladyblog.tumblr.com saying we exist.
We exist.
And they like try to, their theme is really well emulating like the website that they show on the screen. So check that out. Like they're not trying to like pretend it's run by Alia, but their theme is really, really on point there. So I apologize for not searching harder into but you should definitely try to buy out the ladyblog.tumblr.
Yes, you should definitely try and get like the actual.
Because that is a valuable URL now.
Yes, it is. It's like the Keep Gravity Falls weird. Not Gravity Falls.
Keep Beach City weird.
Beach City. I just
that's actually owned by the SU staff though.
Oh, it is.
Yeah,
I thought it
no,
was,
that's not a fan Tumblr. That's
I didn't know it was real.
That's
why
it's great, dude. That's why it's great. It's run by writers.
I'm so tired. I apologize. I probably did know that. I'm just exhausted.
I don't know if you knew that.
Should have.
The main character's emotional journey. Oh yeah, Alia talking about like, yeah, I don't know if it fits in with the main character's emotional journey. Like,
it was so
Alia would be. Which of these characters would be on our podcast? It'd be Alia for sure.
Alia is Mel.
Alia is Mel.
Alia is Mel.
They have a similar demeanor too.
No, they do. Like it's actually kind of terrifying.
I actually think Alia kind of is Mel.
It's kind of scary.
Yeah. What else do we have here? We had the whole kiss scene. Yeah. Marinette putting on makeup or Adrian put on makeup and Marinette was like, oh, he's so great. Like,
well, it was really funny because Adrian got so tired because like she just kept putting makeup on him like every 5 minutes. She's like, oh.
He's like used to that, I guess. Model.
Yeah.
Hey, wait a minute. Marinette never likes my ideas. I think you've been duped. Yeah, that was so the best one. Chloe's so good.
It's so great.
We had
you've been duped. That was the best part.
Ploys to get me out of the way.
Oh my god, I heard like I did that. Like I was like, oh my god, Dylan and I are gonna have a field day. And
Ploys.
I'm watching it with Baby K, and she's like, "What?" And I had to explain at the commercial why we were gonna have a field day.
Ploy is a trigger word for us here.
This is just a ploy for you to get more power. Oh my god.
Looks like it's time to bring in the alter ego. Yeah. Okay, Marinette. Sure. Sure, Jan. Yeah.
Sure, Jan.
Jude, you know cell phones never work in horror movies. I really like that line.
Yeah, that was pretty good. And he was like, called it.
Yeah. Swank. I think someone says swank. I was like, I'm interested on. I think obviously Nino, I assume, but I'm interested on the translation on that one.
Baby K was very annoyed that they said swank.
Why?
She was like, who says that? No one.
Well, guy on a dub of a French show who has like a weird affectation, right? Yeah.
It was because of the dub. So.
Marinette had the best use of her yo-yo shield again, which I pointed out.
Agree.
Yeah, it was like blocking the beam back. It was great.
Oh, that was like super cool.
Yeah.
Also, I really liked how like the villain was like, like fed on fear.
Yeah, it's a little cheesy of a concept.
Well, it's cheesy, but like the show hasn't really done anything like that. Like typically with the villains, like they simply are.
Yeah, I do appreciate it being different. I agree.
Because like our villains literally just like well, that's the other thing. Like the villains are typically so OP. Like a Hawk. Like that's the thing that's the other thing that's like what? Why is this so hard? Hawkmoth creates these crazy villains and then
Who
they
knows?
never get
Is he even in control of his own powers? Who knows?
like it's true.
I did like how the villain shrunk and shrunk and shrunk and like
Yeah.
and it was
And then became like a cute little like
it was
monster.
great.
The button was so cute. Also, she had a ladybug button. I just wanted to point that out. She had one.
Everyone loves Ladybug.
I mean, who we do. I mean, clearly, like everyone loves Ladybug.
Yeah,
Obviously.
and then we talked about everything else cool. Oh, is it like and that they get rejected because it's unbelievable. Great.
That was really funny. I did laugh at that.
Okay, so overall, I'd say like middle tier episode with some definitely good moments in it.
Like not bad, not stellar.
No, here's the thing. I don't think we've
had
had a bad episode in quite a while.
We really haven't. Like, even though this episode wasn't the best, like there were some really good moments, and this episode just like it was fine.
Yeah, I think the show's reached a consistent quality. It's not a super high consistent quality, but I do.
It's not like a super high quality.
I do appreciate the consistency in not being bad because most like half of the shows I watch are just sporadically bad. So
also it does like it says a lot that even though we have this formula and like we know what's going to happen every week, they keep us interested and on our toes, and it's different.
Yeah. Yep. Cool. So
they continue to amaze me with these villains. Like
next week we have Dark Blade, which sounds like an interesting
villain.
The translation of the Korean version. I appoint thee as knight. This one was making a horror movie because like they make the titles, these English titles, like the villain names instead of like I guess verbs, which is what the Korean title is. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, we'll be back probably Monday night next week because Oscars that I need to watch. But yeah, so we'll again our coverage more. Less day of, but I don't think it matters to most of you guys because most of you don't even watch like it on Nick, right?
Yeah.
Like you mostly just watch the Korean and French version. So I honestly don't think it matters too much. Anyway, I'm Dylan Hysen, that's Delaney Stovall. Overlyanimated.com or the Overly Animated Podcast on iTunes. Subscribe to us or on your favorite iTunes or your favorite podcatcher. That's my new line I'm saying, by the way.
Like we didn't catch that.
it's a new. I stole it from Rob as a podcast because I realized that I should probably be telling people to subscribe. You can support us at patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thanks to our current. I haven't even checked if that's actually our patreon.com. I assume it's patreon.com/overlyanimated. I've been saying that for the past.
I was like, how many
for the
times
past 100 years,
now,
right? Okay.
Like, yeah, no, like we've literally, Dylan, we've literally had 100, and you're just now figuring this out.
I mean, I like once you start saying something over and over, you like doubt whether it was the original thing because it can like telephone its way to something.
Is my name even real? Like,
yeah, no, I've had that. Yeah. Shayna, Mitch, Cordell, Beatrice, Nate, Andy, Jamie, and Rachel, aka Hey Now Fever, Mitch, Courtney, University, Beatrice Exchange, Buzz Like Your Mailman, Rachel Rose. Yeah, we'll be back next time, next podcast. Ruby season wrap up tomorrow, the day after a Oscar Best Animated Feature Category podcast, then potentially the day after a Finding Nemo discussion because apparently Mel and I are recording that tomorrow. Okay, cool. So last comments, Lenny.
If you understood my World of Warcraft raid reference, come into my inbox.
Don't do that. Don't. Okay.
I get people in my inbox. It happens, and also World of Warcraft blogs follow me when I make like an awkward like random Tumblr like. World of Warcraft reference on Tumblr. It's weird.
Okay, thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.